How's it going, everyone? I've been seeing quite a lot of discussion about this rumored PlayStation event that'll be happening maybe next month, sometime in the summer, their next major state of play, and a lot of people are hoping for a showcase. I just want to, in this video, cover why I don't think it is time for a PlayStation showcase, and I really wouldn't do a showcase right now. And the report going around and the dialogue is that Sony is internally debating between a state of play and a showcase, and I will say why I think it would behoove them to do a state of play right now, and that is me, based on looking at the landscape and from this vantage point, assessing what Sony has laid out for 2026 and what they've got to be working on. So right now we know in 2026 we'll probably get Soros and potentially Marvel's Wolverine by the end of the year. I think end of 2026 is the best case scenario to get Marvel's Wolverine. And you know what? If we get both Soros and Marvel's Wolverine, those are two major first-party releases. I would say that's a pretty big W given the lackluster state of affairs when it comes to PlayStation and first-party releases when it comes to Sony-owned studios. 2024, they got saved by Astrobot. That was a great release. However, you know, not a major release. Soros isn't gigantic, but that's a game I think they could totally push and build around for a major release in early 26. And then late 26 being Wolverine, that game is going to be gigantic. Going into a showcase, however, I feel like people are going to be wanting big announcements from a first-party standpoint, and on top of that, big gameplay showcases. While the 2023 PlayStation Showcase was generally pretty poorly received, you did have the big Spider-Man 2 gameplay drop at the end of that showcase, setting up for that game being released in the fall. We already know about Ghosts of Yotei. That game is set up. We have the release date. You can't really do a big gameplay showcase at this point. That would be, oh my god, wow. We saw gameplay of the game. We saw a gameplay trailer. People are sold on it. It's Ghosts of Yotei. We have a release date. We are good to go on that game. You don't have that major announcement that's going to get people excited. The one game that you do have ready to show, and they said that they're going to show it by the end of the year, and it's probably going to be released in the relative near future in early 2026, is Soros. The issue with putting Soros in the Spider-Man 2 position is you're setting people up for disappointment at that point if you call it a PlayStation Showcase. If you do a PlayStation Showcase, people are going to be expecting a lot of first-party reveals and a big gameplay demo at the end, or a gameplay trailer and unveil, something like that. Soros deserves an opportunity to shine. However, if you build the showcase around Soros and that gameplay drop, you're setting that game up to be like, oh, this is it. This is the conclusion to the showcase. People are inherently going to be disappointed. Soros is just not at that level of a Spider-Man 2, of the 2021 showcase ending with the God of War Ragnarok gameplay drop. Soros is not there, and you could say, well, they could show Wolverine gameplay, and that would be big for the showcase. Wolverine, at best, is coming out late 2026. At best, it might be a 2027 game, who knows? And at this point, that game has been unveiled for 4 years, doing a gameplay trailer or whatever for that game right now, only for it to come out a year and a half away. That, again, I feel like people would be like, okay, that's cool, but it's so far away. Soros, on the other hand, has that element of, I assume that that game is coming out early 26 because Returnal came out in early 2021. The 5-year window has generally been true for most development studios, that they get out a game 5 years after, and that's generally has been the development cycle for a lot of these games. Soros should be given an opportunity to shine, but at the same time, it shouldn't be put in a position where it's inherently going to make people disappointed, because at the end of the day, Housemarque is just not perceived at that level as an Insomniac, as a Naughty Dog. They're just not. But we have to get them there, and you should put them in a position to shine. What I would do is, you've got to do a state of play, and you build a big state of play around Soros. Now, what else do you put in that state of play? I assume Infamous Second Son is getting a remaster, right? So Infamous Second Son is getting a remaster, probably coming out by the end of the year. You throw that in there, and I'm sorry, you guys, I know you're gonna hate this, but we gotta get the ball rolling on some of these live service games. At some point, we have to show Fair Game. Fair Game got announced 2 years ago, and we haven't seen a lick of gameplay. It is coming out in 2026. I assume that is the case. You gotta show gameplay of that. maybe reveal Horizon Online, which I assume is still in development, and that'll be out in 2026. You have to promote these games, and the issue with doing a showcase and then having a big live service portion is that is at this point gonna disappoint people as well. When it's a state of play, just throwing in a couple live service games alongside Saros being the big title, I think you'll mitigate the disappointment at least a little bit because it's not a showcase and you're not setting expectations too high. But if you do a showcase and all of a sudden it's Saros, it's Infamous Second Son Remastered, it's Fair Game, it's Horizon Online, I think that'll be perceived as a disappointment. At this point, I would rather a bigger state of play that people are happy with than a showcase that people are disappointed with. And that's just looking at the lay of the land at what they can reveal. Ben Studios cooked, their game got canceled and it was gonna be live service nonsense. Bluepoint is cooked. It was gonna be live service nonsense. Guys, this is what happens. We don't get showcase when so many of these studios are cooked doing live service games and the games got canceled. If Naughty Dog was putting out a game this year and we could get a big gameplay demo of that, if Ben Studio was putting out a game this year or next year and we could get a big gameplay demo of that, sure. If what's the other studio? Bluepoint. If you were able to announce a Legend of Dragoon remake, that would have been great. All of those studios have been iced because of live service, and therefore, we gotta take a break on the showcases. There's nothing to show. There is nothing to show at the level of what is perceived as a great showcase. That is just the reality of the situation right now, and what you do have on the table is Saros is there. That's great. Let's give this game an opportunity to shine without people being disappointed by it by building a showcase around it, because it's just not at the level of like the Spider-Man 2s or the God of War Ragnaroks. It's a secondary PlayStation exclusive in terms of marquee appeal. It just doesn't have that marquee appeal as some of those other games, but I think we can elevate Housemarque to that level because they absolutely have the talent. And I thought they botched the Saros reveal because Housemarque is a studio that is built on their incredible gameplay, but we're dropping a reveal trailer with a CG trailer. Good on that one. I just hate CG trailers more than anything in the gaming world these days. CG trailers for new IPs, I should say. CG trailers for new IPs, I detest those more than anything these days, and look at some of these games that people are getting excited for. Expedition 33, new IP, you had gameplay right away. Silver Palace is another game that just got revealed with this 11-minute gameplay demo. People got excited for that, but if you really promote Saros and make it like, okay, this is a big PlayStation exclusive coming in 26, while also alleviating that thought of, this isn't a big enough game for a showcase, but do a big state of play. Have your Infamous remasters if you're gonna do that. Maybe, you know, get a surprise PS3 remaster in there, but do a bigger state of play. You gotta finally start promoting these live service games. I know you guys are gonna hate to hear it. I know most of you guys think Fair Game is dead on arrival, but we have to start showcasing this game. It's been announced for 2 years. We have to know what it is, and I get maybe right now the big live service push is gonna be Marathon for PlayStation, but whatever. You'll do a Marathon trailer. There's gotta start being this live service push. You know, even with all the games getting canceled, there are these live service games that Sony has in-house, but I think right now tying live service to a showcase, not a good idea. Not a good idea because the perception right now of live service and PlayStation is in the toilet, and tying that to a showcase where the expectation is going to be, okay, we're finally going to get those big first-party single-player games, you're just setting those games up to be failures. You're literally setting people up to clown on those games, whereas an accessory reveal on a state of play that's built around the Saros gameplay that really highlights Saros while not setting Saros up for disappointment about it being the marquee game at a showcase, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I'm talking about it from a promotional standpoint where you put Saros in the best position possible. You finally got to start showing these live service games because at some point, well, we just got to face reality. Like, whatever. If Fair Game's another Concord, it's not getting canceled, so like just reveal the gameplay. How does this game look? Nobody knows. The initial CG trailer was god-awful, and that's another CG trailer. Go pull that up and read the comments section. If you think anybody wants a comment section for a new IP to look like that, you're crazy. But I digress. I think we should skip on the showcase this year. It's not time for it. showcase next year, Wolverine gameplay drop just like they did with Spider-Man 2 in 2023, and then maybe by 2026, you can have an intergalactic gameplay trailer for a showcase. You can have, you know, a CG trailer for, let's just say Days Gone 2 got greenlit at Bend Studio, and it's a year in development. Okay, a CG trailer for Days Gone 2 works because it's an established IP and people know Days Gone and people have been wanting Days Gone 2. A CG trailer in that context works. CG trailer for new IPs are just trash in my humble opinion, but I think 2026 is when you have the opportunity to do a notable showcase that people will be happy with. 2025, I just don't think you have anything on the table that is fit for a showcase. And, you know, maybe you could do a showcase, you could have a lengthy Ghost of Yote gameplay demo, and then you could do a Soros gameplay demo, and then remasters, but there's that live service element. You gotta get the live service games over as well. And with all that being said, I just think it's better off to do a state of play that over-delivers than a showcase, again, that under-delivers. And showcases right now are just gonna set expectations really high, especially because first-party output has been relatively weak, that with a showcase being announced, people are gonna be like, all right, this is the moment where first-party really picks up, when in reality, with all these games getting canceled, it can't pick up overnight. That's impossible. It's gonna take at least a couple of years. Let's get some irons in the fire, and then I think it'll be time for a showcase. But that's my 2 cents. Interested to hear what you guys think, and I just think it makes more sense to do a state of play that builds around Soros and its gameplay reveal. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. As always, thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.